All righty, we should be live here any second. So, welcome those of you that got here early. Just a couple people hanging out. We are going to be going over some Wilds of Eldraine decks, and this is going to be a little different stream because we're not really. I don't know. Maybe I'll play a little bit. I don't know if I'm going to play a bunch today. I was kind of making this available, and if somebody wants to get some help, maybe you are struggling because you opened up some stuff from Eldraine and you don't know what to do with it, or you have a cool deck idea or an interesting deck idea that you just can't quite get right and it's not working. Maybe you played all day yesterday and you struggled, and for whatever reason, your deck's just not doing what you want it to do. Well, the idea is that hopefully we can help you out today. So, don't know, but you know what? If we find the deck interesting and we find it fun, I might feature it here on the channel. Either way, you can just pop it up and you can give me a link and we will get to it. Uh, you can thank me if you want. Also, if you want to get deck help, even when we aren't doing these special streams, you can actually, I have a membership level where you can just do that anytime. I have a form, you fill out, send it to me, go straight to my email. So you don't even have to get special time. You can just get help in real, well, almost real time. JM96 Rock says, I'm thinking Orzhov rolls. It's what I drafted. Sure, bring me a deck list. If you have an idea, let's clean it up. Let's work on it. The idea isn't here for me to make your deck for you. The goal here is for you to have a deck that you're working on or that you love or like or whatever. And I try to help you fix it up. That's the goal. So if you have one, post it, host it somewhere just so I can get the link and I can get the deck list and I'll load it into Arena and we'll see what we can do. All right. 96 Rock says he's going to work on it for a second. Get over to me. Welcome those of you that are just joining. We just got started here. Only been live for a couple of minutes. But to get you up to speed, the goal of today's stream is to give people a chance to get some deck help early in the season. Usually, you don't see people really do streams like this early on, but a lot of you may have already opened some packs, right? Maybe you put together some sample deck lists and they're not working out. This is a chance for you to get some help and maybe make your deck better. And if it's interesting or fun or different or whatever, then maybe I'll feature it on the channel in the next week or two, and you get to see how it does against everything else. But either way, giving everybody a chance to submit deck lists, the best way to do it is go to your favorite site where you would host the deck list. For me, I put myself on Moxfield, but you can put it on Aether Hub, Goldfish, whatever. There's a bunch of different places you can put it. And then just give me the link to your deck list so then I can download it, put it into Arena, and we can work on it. I will say we're only doing standard decks because that's what I do on my channel. So I wouldn't be able to help you very much with, I don't know, historic or something. I don't think I've played a game of historic in nearly 2 years. So I wouldn't be your best person for that. But for standard, we can help you out. Mostly doing best of one, but I'll look at best of three list as well. Going to be a little tough to figure out sideboards right now because the format's kind of just wide open and people are playing all types of different things. So I don't know if there's any super advice I could give there, but I can probably give you some at least roundabout estimates or ideas to probably help fix you up a little bit. But yeah, because the early part of the season's tough for people. Jason, let's see here. What do we got? Jason says, I made a best of one red blue ramp artifact deck, and it's kind of cool. Those are a lot of words, but if you want me to take a look at it, get me one of them links, friend. We'll pop it up here and see what we can do. And if it's working for you, all the better. The other thing too is I want to say this when it comes to decks. I think people try to build, I guess what we'd call like the perfect deck, right? They want a thing that gets 75, 80% win percentage and, doesn't ever lose to XYZ or whatever. Like the reality is, one, every deck's going to have some type of weakness. If the deck doesn't, then it's probably scheduled to be banned or have some cards banned from it, right? The other thing to remember too is that once you're winning more than like even 54, 55% of your games, you're going to rank up the ladder anyway. Then it's just a matter of time in a numbers game, right? You're already ahead of average, so you will just keep ranking up. It'll come in spurts and maybe you'll lose 3 or 4, then you'll win the next 2, then you'll lose 1, then you'll win 3 or whatever, but you're going to keep moving up. So that's really your goal, is just to get to about like that 54, 55% range, and you're good. Now, occasionally some decks will be good enough that they're going to be 60% winners, right? Now, people also show you, oh, I built this deck and it went 80% or whatever. Like, I've had decks where I went through a stretch and just didn't lose for 8 games. I'm not gonna hell, I've done those videos and told you in those videos that, I got a little lucky in this game, or my opponent didn't draw this thing that would have caused me to lose or whatever, right? So realistically, instead of being 8-0, it's like 6-2 or 5-3, but things happen. But just the same way, you could end up playing that deck and be the opposite. You go 0-8, right? So always take those things with a grain of salt. Somebody showing you a 75%, 80% win percentage deck, there's no guarantee that that's going to be that way. And the reality is, most of the time, if decks were that good, then everybody would start playing it. And then those percentages would go down because some of those decks are going to be running into each other. And then Wizards would go ahead and start banning cards, right? So realistically, even like 60% is 60 to 64 starts to become like the high point of what a deck's realistically expected to do on any kind of regular basis. And even if you look at big tournaments and stuff, any decks that do above like that 64, 65% range tend to be the ones that hit the radar of like, okay, we need to keep an eye on this deck so it doesn't dominate the format or whatever, right? So yeah, I wouldn't worry about it too much. I mean, I've seen people literally, the times we've done some of these types of streams in the past, people will show up and say, "Oh, well, I'm only winning 60%. What can I do?" And I'm like, "You're already winning 60%. Don't touch it." Right? Like, even if I give you any tips, they're not necessarily going to, I mean, what am I going to do? Add a percentage point or two, maybe? Like, if a deck is doing 60% for you already, don't mess with it. Like, don't let perfect be the enemy of good. That's a thing I like to tell people sometimes, because some people have a great thing going and then they want to go tinkering with it because it's just not quite perfect, right? And it's like, no, if it's already good and taking care of the job, don't mess with it. You're probably going to make it worse. Also, don't forget that sometimes metagames shift, right? So while you might spike and be at 70% for a couple of days, you might play the next few days and be 50% because the rest of the format, especially here in the early stages of a set, people might start going, oh, well, this card's actually really good and showing up in a lot of decks, or this type of deck's starting to take over and we can't really beat that. And then it starts to become a bit of a thing. So as people catch up to you, your numbers could change as well if you're playing the popular deck. So keep that in mind. What do I think about an Ivy Spell Thief deck with the new? I'm just going to tell you, put a deck list together and we'll talk about it because I don't even know. Like right now, this is not from, and I'm not saying that's what your question was about, but this stream is not for me to build a deck off a concept for you. This is for you to have a deck list that you're working on or that may not be hitting for you or whatever that you want to clean up, whatever the case may be. And you submit your deck list and then we help fix it up. That's what this is for. What else we got here? Don't let perfect be the enemy of good. Yep, that's exactly what it's about. Let's see what do we got here. Hunk says, "What up? I see you the first time live on YouTube. Good vibes." Yeah, I'm trying to get into a rotation where I'm probably going to be on Twitch once a week and on YouTube twice a week, just for a while to figure it out, get a feel for it, give a certain feel to the streams. Also, by the way, if you don't have a deck list available today, I have a membership level where you can send. I have a form and it goes straight to me where you can just put in a deck list or a link and like get help anytime. So you can always join the memberships at that level, and you just have access to that anytime you want it. So you don't have to wait for a stream. So even today, like if we go through 4 or 5 decks in this next hour, and you're number 6, 7, 8, and still want to get help, like you can just do it that way, or you can hop into my Discord and there's all the whole Dragon Brood community is always helping people. So you can hop in there as well. We have like 600 people in the Discord. Actually, almost. It's like 580 or something like that. But basically almost 600 people, which is great. So lots of ways you can get deck help, even if it's not today. Elusive Otter is the card I meant. +1, 1/1 prowess. Oh, yeah, the one that puts counters on stuff. I know about that card. Need help in deciding if I should go Voltron or just stacks Aura's Pillow Fort with a ready of the Charmed Apple. I don't think any of these things are just black and white answers. It's really, what does the rest of the deck look like? I think that's going to be your biggest question, right? Because it's difficult to just say like, oh, you should do this over this, especially in the early part of the season, because we don't know what decks everybody else is going to play or what cards from Eldraine are going to be the breakouts, right? So even if I told you something today that's just like, oh, this is better than this, that may not be the case in 2 weeks, right? I talked about this on a previous stream where we've had times during a season. A good example, what was that? The companion, the blue black one that like you could only play, I think it was like even number cards or something like that. Like that one dominated for like hard for about the first 10 days of the set release. And people were panicking, like, oh, it's too good. This deck's going to need to be banned, blah, blah. And then within the next 2 weeks, you almost never saw that deck again. And by the end of the month, that next month, nobody was playing it. Like you might see it once every 50 games on the ladder, right? It just wasn't a thing. So even something that looks so monumentally crazy just wasn't after a while, right? Everybody figured out how to deal with it. Everybody figured out what to sideboard, whatever, and it just became a non-issue. So that's why I'm always careful to try to give absolutes. I say, let's look at the deck list. We'll talk about the decks. Posting decks in chat is not the way to do it. Give me a link to your deck and we can do that. And we can put it up here. But do not post, like, YouTube and Twitch chats both are not built for posting deck lists. Like, that's why I tell everybody, go to your favorite site where you would host a deck. I use Moxfield, but you can use Aether Hub, Goldfish. I think some of the different trader sites let you post deck lists. Wherever you put it, so that I can get it from there. And then I will go to your page. I will download the list and we'll put it up in Arena. All right. Where's your deck link at? Rock, if you want to take a look at it. What you got? Let's see what else we got. Jason says, the main reason I wanted you to look at my deck is because I'm happy with it and it's very unique and stands apart from the meta, but I also haven't found a way to work any woe cards in. You know, sometimes that's going to be the case though. Like a set may come out and there might only even be 2 or 3 cards that are even worth considering, and they may just not change what you're doing. You know, an example is if you have an artifact deck that happens to be, in your case, like red blue, I think you're the one who posted that, there just may be nothing to include, right? Unless there's a random equipment or something you want. But for the most part, it might be the stuff that cares about artifacts are in white and green or some such. The spells might be okay. Maybe there's something with the cool adventure that maybe works. I don't know. But that's probably about it. You're not going to be adding more than a card or two sometimes. Matter of fact, I saw somebody today who was griping on one of my videos, which, by the way, I wish I remembered who this was. I think I ended up just blocking the person from my channel. But they came on and they were griping about, oh, well, new set comes out and we're playing the same cards and nobody even had anything. I'm like, the deck I posted up today, the mono green deck, it had the triplets in it. It had the mana creature thing. It had the new the cottage was in there. I'm just like, we definitely played new cards, right? You know what I mean? Like, but not every deck is going to get an overhaul because a new set comes out. Like, it just doesn't make sense, right? You have now, what is that, 9 sets worth of stuff to work with for standard? Actually, no, we have more than that, right? Whatever. We have a lot, 9 plus. Why would we just focus on the new set? Now, if you're playing a theme that's based on the new set, like if you're doing knights or you're doing fairies or whatever, well, yeah, the bulk of the cards are going to come from that set because that's where most of those lie in standard right now. But it wouldn't make sense to be like, oh, I'm playing green, white enchantments and I'm just going to switch it and play all the new enchantments. Well, there's old enchantments that are just good. I mean, you're like Jukai Naturalist makes all your enchantments cheaper. You're not going to not play that, right? Calyx lets you put +1/+1s on things for playing enchantments. You're not going to not play that. So that's like a weird thing to want. It just doesn't make sense. John Archer says Sultai lands deck. Cool. Show me your link. Like, this is the thing. I want to be clear. Hey, Rodrigo. Hello from Brazil. Hello to you. I have a lot of Brazilians that watch my stuff. That's actually very cool. A lot of Germans too. This stream is not for me to make a deck that you want. This stream is for you to have a deck. Give me the link. I will download your deck list, load it into Arena, so that we can help you fix up your deck. That's what we're doing today. Like, I make decks all the time. I have another 15 decks ready to go to make videos for that y'all haven't even seen yet. So that's not what this stream is for. This is for helping you upgrade your deck. So what I'm telling everybody to do here is wherever you would normally host your deck, whether you want to set up on Moxfield, Aetherhub, Goldfish, take your pick, right? There's a bunch of websites. Post it there. Give me the link to where it is. I will download your deck list into Arena, and then we'll talk about it. Link is above that comment. Oh, I'm not showing the links anywhere. Did the links get blocked? Yeah, I don't see a link anywhere. I'm looking. Nope, I see stuff from all those posts from Stat Tracker, and I see a comment from Rock, but I do not see a list. Huh, I wonder if it's turning links off for some reason today. Let me double check my settings and see if maybe that's the case, because I can't imagine why that would be a thing. But let me check, because we've been able to post deck links in here before, and it hasn't done a thing. But let me double check. Let me see if I have some option that links are maybe on. Oh, it's just blocking links all of a sudden? Well, that's no good. Well, give me a quick second. Let me see if I can fix this. Customization here. I mean, I'm sure in some cases it's probably good to not let people post lists because humans will do something silly. That's exactly it too. Don't put the hyperlink. Don't put the HTTPS. Like, because I can just put, if you just have whatever, I can just put it into into Chrome and go get it. Do I ever play Explorer? Almost none, honestly. Partly though, like I've done it a couple times in the last year, but here's the thing on Explorer. The reality is, like, it doesn't draw views unless you're already a big channel, largely because it's the least played format on Arena. And Wizards also posted in an announcement recently, I want to say as of like 2 months ago, have said that they're basically working over the next year to year and a half just to get Pioneer into Arena. So they're trying to make it Pioneer ready. Thanks for the subscription there. Was that George Washington? Is that what that said? Like, thank you. And the thing there is, once Pioneer is available, pretty much nobody's going to play Explorer, right? Because most people are playing Explorer because it's Pioneer Light. Once it's Pioneer, then people want to practice for tournaments or whatever. They're just going to play Pioneer. So it also doesn't benefit me as a creator to spend a lot of resources and time to build for Explorer, knowing that Pioneer is basically around the corner already. So that's kind of the issue there. So yeah, if you tried to share links, let's see if you can post it without hyperlinking it. So don't put the HTTPS, whatever. You can just put, let's say you put it on Moxfield. You can put the moxfield.com/whatever your deck is, right? Just put that in the chat. And I should be able to get it from that and take care of things. Same thing, Stat Tracker. That's what I was just talking about. Like, if you're going to post it without the hyperlinking portion. Just, if it's on MTG Goldfish, just give me the mtggoldfish.com/whatever. Don't give me the whole thing, because apparently YouTube is being very vigilant right now and blocking out all of the links that go somewhere, which is sad because I don't have an option, as far as I can tell, to just, I'm looking right now, but I don't see an option to just turn those off or turn off that moderation feature, which, to their credit, like I said, I think more often than not, that's probably the best thing. Oh, is it not letting it go at all? Wow, what's that about? That's pretty disappointing that it's not going to let me put up because we've done this before and it let us put links. The only other option I have then, if they're not going to let us put any links in, is it would be possible to like go to my Discord and just post it in the standard channel. might be the best thing. But it's terrible to have to go through that extra step. But yeah, I wish they had a way. Let's see, toggle moderation activity. Uh, nope, that doesn't do anything. Mm-mm-mm-mm. Yeah. I was thinking that would let me, but it doesn't. Dang it. I was hoping it would give me another option. It is not. It's giving me zero options to mess with stuff otherwise. This sucks. Why? I mean, I get it. I can't be too mad. Like, they're trying to be extra safe. That sucks. But it hinders us when we're trying to do stuff like this. Makes me sad. Definitely gives me a case of the sads. All right. Well, the Discord link is also in the comments or in the description. So if you want to just go to the Discord, go to our standard section, post your deck list in there. Let me know it's posted, and then I'll bring that up. I wish, though, I really do wish we had another way to put these in here, because if it's not letting us put it with spaces or without hyperlinking, I'm not really sure if there's another viable option, which is tough. Ugh. Ugh. Now, that said, as far as Eldraine goes, there are a lot of new things still to try. You may not see a lot of them early, but you're not going to see them. It's mostly it's not because they're not viable. You're mostly not going to see them because people just don't have the cards yet, or people don't want to invest because they don't know what they want to build or what card's better than what. So it will be a little frustrating in the early going. I think I talked about it on today's video. You're going to see a lot of like mono red, mono white aggro, because those are the easiest to identify cards for and easy to play, and people already own most of the stuff for them, right? So it makes sense as that's what you're going to see early. And there are people that are just going to try to take advantage of all the bad decks people are testing that aren't refined yet. And a lot of times those decks, if you stumble, are going to take advantage of you. And that's just kind of the way it is. I wish there was a better solution for that, but there's really not. It's just the nature of everything. How do I get to Discord? The link is in the description. If you go down the bottom in my links section and social links, there's a thing that says Discord. You just click that and it takes you to the Discord. And then you just post it there. Yeah, James, what we're trying to do is, it looks like sometime recently YouTube has made it to where you can't post links in chat. Like, they're just blocked entirely, even with everything we're trying to do, unfortunately. And I don't have a way to turn that option off. So unfortunately, I'm having to, at least for now, for today, send people to the Discord and then letting people post a list in the standard section there. And then I can snag it once people let me know it's posted. Because otherwise, we don't really have a way to do this. And that's super unfortunate. But yeah, if you go over there, once you post it, let me know and I will take a look. But yeah, today's stream, though, like I said, is to hopefully help y'all make your decks better. I know some people it's like, build this. And I was like, no. I have already built a lot of decks. I built a lot of decks y'all are going to see over the next few weeks. But this is for y'all to be able to get deck help with stuff. There's always infinite combos. They're just not great. Like, like everybody panics every time there's an infinite combo, but they don't really pan out. Usually because they're fairly interruptible, right? Like, you can destroy an enchantment if it's training ground stuff, right? Or all will be one, right? Or it's something that involves creatures. So you just use a creature kill spell. So sometimes they just take too much to set up, and it's easier to win some other way. The best way to play combos these days, especially in standard, is just make a deck that's already decent, that maybe has like this quirky 3-card thing that can go off as part of it. A good example is like the Rakdos style decks, like mid-rangey. Some of those were building and using All Will Be One, and then they'd play a few copies of the new Ob Nixilis. So if they just happen to get them, cool, we can combo off and win. But otherwise, you're just playing a Rakdos mid-rangey deck with some good cards that even individually, those cards can still do stuff, but you get them together, then you can possibly win the game. That's really what it's about there. I think focusing on the combo usually doesn't work out. All right, so we have NBA stat tracker. Looks like you posted something on Architect. I'm surprised how many of y'all use Architect because man, like whoa, it says I'm viewing an empty deck. There's nothing there. I follow your link. It says Simic whatever, and it just takes me to a thing that says you are viewing an empty deck. Like, do you have it set as private maybe, and it's not letting me see it? I don't know, but yeah, it's definitely not letting me see that there. Uh, what else we got here? Oh, it says I've been playing Abs and Food, and it's super fun. Yeah, I probably need to build a food deck at some point. I haven't really focused on that yet. Isn't that setting in chat set up for links? I don't know. I couldn't find a setting. I seriously looked and I couldn't find one that would let me display links. I was trying to find one and hoping there would be one, but is there? Let's see. Permissions. Nope. 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 Community stuff. That's just personal things on the back end. I can hold inappropriate comments, but it doesn't say anything about links, unfortunately. Yeah, there's nothing here that says one way or the other, which is super sad. Because I just want to let y'all post things. That's all. I just want to share fun stuff. Yeah, that doesn't have anything. I'll have to look some other time. Yeah, that definitely doesn't give me any options there. Right now, Rock, the best thing to do is go down to the description here of the video and click on my Discord and then post it in the standard channel and then let me know it's posted. Because unfortunately, it's not letting us post any type of links in the Discord chat right now or in the YouTube chat right now. I wish it were easier. I'm gonna have to do some because this is the first time we run into this, so I'm gonna have to go in and try to figure out what type of settings to what's required to make that work. Because I've literally looked at everything while we've been live and I see nothing. Like I'm looking on dashboard options, I'm looking on live stuff there, I'm looking at individual software I'm using. Like there's nothing that makes that possible, unfortunately. I wish there were an easier way, but we shall see. But if y'all post it in the Discord, just let me know when you post it, and I will take a look at it and bring it up live so we can talk about it. But yeah, what I was saying earlier is like Architect is such a weird site to me, and it's interesting that and this isn't to knock them. Like nothing wrong with using the site. I have nothing against them or the people that operate it. For me personally, I just didn't find it usable because it was a case where it felt like more form than function, right? It had like I tried to like look at a thing or highlight a thing, cards start shifting and sliding around and whatever. I'm like, dude, I just want to click on a thing, right? Like, and especially on my phone and stuff, I didn't even try to go for it because that just sounded like disastrous to me. All right. So what do we got here? Let me see what we got in the Discord. Who has posted in the Discord? Y'all aren't using your same Discord name, so that's not helping. Who are you in Discord, each of you? So I pull up the right deck list. So, John Aquino, you said you've posted in there. NBA Sector, you use the same name. Your link just didn't work before. So let me pull yours up. Let's see. Boop. All right, now I can get to it. All right, let me go pull. Let me see how to. Oh man, how do I even get a deck list off here? Oh, export. There we go. Dun, 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 dun. File type, copy to Arena. That's what we want. Okay, cool. Let's go over here and we will pull up. This is for NBA Stack Tracker. Let's see what you got. Says error in pointing the deck list because of a card name. Really? Okay, well, let's see what we got then. Let's see why there's an error. Why, Archidec? Why? Why are you a problem? They must have just heard me saying bad things about it. All right. Because I can see the deck list clearly. Let me see. I can go to export again. Maybe can I just go to copy deck? Maybe that just works. Maybe exporting is not correct. Nope, because that just lets me copy it to put it somewhere else on the site. Don't want to do that. All right, we tried copying already. Don't want it as a PDF because that does nothing for us. Yeah, why does this not work? Let's put no headers. Maybe that'll help. And then we just go to copy to arena. Why does it have an issue with, is it maybe how they're listing the split cards? Note that arena will only accept editions of cards that are available on arena. If you receive an error when importing, please ensure all your cards are of the acceptable edition. Oh my gosh, what does that even mean in terms of this? All right, let me try again. Nope. I don't know. I'm gonna assume if y'all are using Archidec, we just can't do it. Like, I don't know why it won't, because I've literally tried 3 or 4 things. All right. J-Rock is Reading 1990-96. All right, cool. Let's pull this up. I know Moxfield's ones work. I know Goldfish ones work because I've used both of theirs. All right, so let's export this. All right. Or if y'all know how you get your deck list off of Archidec into Arena, let me know and I'll just follow your instructions. Because, like I said, each time I've tried Archidec, I have not had a great experience, with the whole reason I don't use it. All right. So let's pull this up. Let's see what we got here. What are we working with on this one? Okay. So let's see. We've got Slumbering Keeper Guard. This is a 1/1. When enchantment enters the battlefield under your control, you scry 1. It gets one. I'm not a fan of this card, but I hope I'm wrong. Spiteful Hexmage feels like if you're going to play this, you should just be playing 4. I mean, I know it's a rare, so you may not have the wild cards or whatever, but eventually that should be the goal. This deals 3 damage to target attacking or blocking creature. If the spell is bargained, you destroy that creature instead. Okay, I see what we're doing. I think my problem here with something like Kellen's Lightblades is I feel like if you're already in black, why not just play an actual removal spell, right? This is like sometimes going to kill a creature if I have a thing I can sacrifice to it, but I also can't do anything to it if the creature isn't attacking or blocking, right? So if there is a big Shieldred, Vorinclex, whatever, I can't punch past, this card doesn't do anything, right? Unless they already commit to block. So you could just play Infernal Grasp, go for the throat, whatever, right? Like I get, and this is where, like, when you're deck building, it's easy to just get into the weeds, right? And I've done this before myself, so don't feel bad. But like, you just start looking for all the things that work with the mechanic you're trying to build around, and then you just end up ignoring some other more rational cards, right? And I think that's the issue here. Is like, now the other thing I would say is if you were doing some version of this, I don't know, that happens to be like green and white or maybe blue and white, then this becomes a little more viable of a card because you don't have just straight up quality removal, right? Unless you want to play like a fight spell or something in green. But that being said, even then, I guess you could play like some of the other white cards that just kill a creature. So, like, I don't know. But I'm saying, like, there are at least cases where this becomes more viable. As it is, you could replace this with a common or an uncommon that just kills a thing. So you probably just don't even need this. Let's see. Spellbook Vendor. Obviously, yeah, you're on a budget. You would like to have 4 of these. I don't think that's really a question. Lord Skitter's Blessing, same thing. If you're going to be putting all the auras on stuff, so that makes sense. Which is Vanity. I'm 50-50 on this one. Mostly because the part that's really good here for this deck is getting the Wicked roll. But if you have a bunch of other stuff that's already putting rolls on things, this could also just be a better removal card. Though this is fine in the early stages. It does quite a bit, gets rid of a lot of decent cards, especially right now. Good against mono red in the sense that you can kill a small thing and still get a food, so that's not bad. But could it just be a better removal or a better creature that helps your cause? Like, possibly, you know? All right. Then we have Conceited Witch, which adds a wicked roll and it has menace. Whew, even on a budget, I feel like we could do better than this. Like, mostly because, like, it just, I mean, it's adding a roll token, which is cool, but like, can we do better than that? Let's see. If you sacrifice it, you may pay 2. If you do, there's got to be something better, right? I mean, well, this costs 1 more, I say, but it's a royal token and gets you a 3/3, so that's a little bit of a better body. This protects stuff and puts a token on it when it comes back. I mean, I feel like there's just got to be some. This is kind of the problem with these decks, though. There's just not a lot of things for rolls, right? There's the good cards that happen to be the rares, sadly. The Hex Mage, the Vendor, the Lord Skitter's Blessing. But then after that, like what are we really getting for it? I like this though. I don't mind Rowan's Grim Research. It helps you find your cards easier. Hopefully, if it's already lives, you actually get extra life, so that could be good. Other creatures you control that are enchanted by auras you control have base power and toughness 4/4. Yeah, this makes sense. I don't have a problem with that. Niva Stalked by Nightmares. This is a 4-mana thing for a 2/2. Into the battlefield, return target creature enchantment cards from a graveyard to your hand. When an enchantment you control is put into the graveyard from battlefield, put a +1/+. This is too much. This is 4 mana with 2 colors to get a 2/2 that we only have. What do we actually even have for enchantments? Not a lot. We have Lord Skitter's Blessing, Witch's Vanity if these make the final cut, and that's kind of it, right? So you don't even have really. I mean, you can turn a creature, which is cool, but to get anything extra out of this, and it's so fragile for 4 mana. This doesn't make me feel good. this this makes me feel like I think my problem with these types of cards is like, let's say they've dealt with 1 or 2 of your early things. They removed you already. You top deck this card and you play it. It just doesn't feel like it's doing much. You know what I mean? Like you play this by itself, and it's like, okay, I spent 4 mana for this 2/2. While it does have menace, it doesn't like fly. It doesn't have lifelink. It just doesn't do much on its own. Yeah, that's true. And that's what I was about to say. Like, could you just play any of the other planeswalkers, right? The 4 mana, uh, what's her name? Elspeth? This one, right? You could just as well play this, and this would be fine. Or you could play, hell, I mean, this one's actually fine too. I don't know if it helps the deck as much, but it's not bad. You get to put +1/+ons on things and get other abilities. So either of these would probably be a better. And again, I know they're on a budget. These are mythics, so take that for what it is. But these are going to be lots better than Neva. As a matter of fact, instead of even playing Neva, if you already have the cards, I would go ahead and just play more Trespassers, because this is just going to be consistently better more often than this is. Like, I feel like Neva is making the cut here in your list just because, again, we're kind of like forcing the theme, right? But there's just cards that are better. Like, the Archon makes the cut, but it's also making your things 4/4 and flying, right? So, like, this makes way more sense that this is making the cut because it instantly does, and it's a big body. Like, consider the difference of what you're getting here, right? For 4 mana, you can get a 4/4 flyer that has upside for all your other cards, or you get Neva that's a 2/2 that hopefully you have something in value in the graveyard that's worth returning. And then over time, maybe you get a 3/3 or 4/4, and you're at least getting Descry, right? Like, there's a lot of like what ifs and if I have this other card or whatever, but like the Archon just does work on its own. So I would look at replacing Niva. I would probably go up with a number of Trespassers, maybe one more Grim Research. Vanities are fine. Again, we're working with the budget, so I'm not going to like force those out of the way. Light Blades could be removed for just playing straight up go for the throats. I think would be fine. And once you get the cards, I'd replace Slumber Keepers with Hex Mages, more Book Vendors, because this just isn't great on its own. A fun thing, though, is if you have them, you could play Evolve Sleeper in the one slot, because then if you play a Hex Mage behind it, you just turn it into a 1/1, and then you just do all the stuff you were going to do afterwards, right? Turn it into a 2/2, a 3/3, or whatever. So you can literally like turn 1 Sleeper, turn 2 Hex Mage, make this a 1/1, attack, turn it into a 2/2. And then you really didn't take a punishment for putting that 1/1 on anything. You know what I mean? So like that's probably a better use than just playing the Slumbering Keep Guard, because like I mean, it is cool that you get to scry. Don't get me wrong, but like that's not going to block anything from your opponent. That's not going to force any damage through. You're literally just hoping the scry is good enough on this card, right? So I would look through back some of the last couple of sets, see if there's some things you already have that you could fill in. But those would be my replacements. As you get the cards, increase X Mage, increase Book Vendor, remove the keep guards, play some Evolved Sleepers, probably replace Nivas with some number of, probably one more each of Trespasser and Grim Research. I mean, I guess Conceded Witch stays for now, but again, because we're on a budget, you don't want to mess with it too much. I'm just not excited about it just because of the cost, and it's not doing a lot for us. So yeah, that's probably what I would change here. But overall, like I expect most decks like this are going to look kind of similar. Ready's actually, each creature that's enchanted by an aura you control can't attack you or planeswalkers you control. So like the other option is, I guess, if you had stuff you just wanted to put that like pacified creatures, so you can gain life and then they still can't attack you. So like that's an option too. But generally speaking, not terrible. This is something I think the issue though, ultimately, at least in my experience so far with these decks, is that if you don't get the aggressive start, these decks lean on a ready very heavily. And if a ready dies, you kind of have some pretty small undervalued duders, right? Because you're not playing any of the planeswalkers, you're not playing Shieldred, you're not playing anything threatening without a ready is the problem. Because your Hex Mage, if things fall right, you at least turn it into like a 4/3, right? That at least helps. But then like your Spellbook Vendor is probably never going to be bigger than a 3/3. The Conceded Witch is going to be at best a 3/4. It at least has menace, so it's got that going for it. So you're leaning really hard on this Archon and a ready coming through, which is fine, but you just kind of have to keep that in mind. That like your 3 and 4 mana things, you're kind of playing around setting up situations where one of those sticks and gets to hit, right? And if they do, solid gold. If they don't, it's going to suck a little bit. But that's just the nature of playing this kind of deck. But I think as far as budget decks go, this is probably fine. I don't think there's major changes to be made except for the few things we talked about. Let me see what else we've got. Let me go hop back over to Discord. NBA Stat Tracker says he reposted his, so I'm going to take a look at that first because I know you've been trying for a minute. Also, again, if you're late to the stream, if we don't get to your deck list today, you can always post in the Discord, get help from the Discord chat. If you want me personally to look at your deck list, I do have a membership level here on YouTube that if you sign up for that, you can literally just send me a deck list anytime, and it goes straight to a form I have. It's a Google form I have set up, so nice and easy. All right, so let's see what else we got here. Got it posted on Moxfield, we said. All right, so let's go pull this up. We will export that, and we'll see what we can do. All right. Hey, was successful. And I believe it's this one. All right. And this is for NBA Stat Tracker, right? So let's see what we've got. Oh, there's a lot of ones in here, so I'm already going to not feel great about this. But let's see what we got. We got a combat research, consider, delver of secrets, elusive otter, which just cares about just getting counters, has prowess, so you want to just play spells. That makes sense. Fading hopes, shore up, slip out the back, audacity, giant growth, royal treatment. I actually need to be playing this card more often. I actually kind of like it. So like cryptomancer. Wow. Hmm. There is a lot going on here. This hmm. How many creatures does this even have? It feels like it doesn't have very many. I guess it does though. It has 19. Wow, where do I even want to start with this? I think my problem is there's so many one-ups here, it's hard to figure out what we're trying to focus on. Because it just feels like there's just a lot of things happening here. And like we're kind of trying to play defensively because there's like a shore up, a slip out the back, some royal treatments, a Tameo safekeeping, but it's like we should just be figuring out what are the most important ones here or the best ones and clean it up. I mean, well, it's not. I don't think your number of creatures and spells is particularly bad. One of the things that's just always going to be an issue with these types of decks, or like the red blue prowess decks and stuff like that, is that sadly your deck almost has to be outside of your lands, half creatures, half spells, or else it just doesn't work, right? Because and even then, you're sometimes going to draw too many spells, or you're going to draw too many creatures, and it's just the way it goes. However, because you can play adventures, that helps shore up, but some of the problems that you have with these types of decks. So, trying to do Ivy Stormdrake is the goal here. Well, then first off, we should be playing 4 Ivies, right? Like that should just be a given. I don't even know Intrepid Truffle Snout. Give it +2/+2 when it attacks alone, create food. Let me just look up adventure because I feel like there's got to be something better. Like, what are the best things we could do with just blue and green adventures? Is there nothing better that we could do? I'm just like, is like, let's start there. What's the best thing available? But we might be playing the best things that are available already, which is kind of sad. I thought there might have been something else here. Play an extra land, get a body, but that's too expensive. Draw 2 cards. That doesn't suck. Maybe cast a spell with mana 5 or we're not going to be doing that part. But drawing 2 cards is actually not bad as an adventure. I could see that. All right, so yeah, there's not many others I would consider other than that. So that kind of limits our choices. I would consider the Tempest Heart, but it's also a ground creature, so take it for what it's worth. Usually the creature half is too bad. Yeah, that's the problem with these type of decks, though, right? You are just playing fragile. And then the question becomes, is this better than playing the toxic versions that have already been floating around for a while? Right? Like, are we, and that's a real question, like, are we changing things up just because we want to try new cards? Are we changing up because we think this is an upgrade to what already exists? And I haven't played enough with either one to know that answer yet, but that's something I would keep in mind while building. Let's see. Combat research. Whenever this creature deals combat damage, you get to draw a card. So I would say, hmm. Yeah, venerated rot priest, like that. Those types of decks. There was some that based all around the toxic mechanic for a minute that did this, and they were tough if you didn't have like the right early removal or counter, and you could still beat them, but they were pretty tough if they got rolling. All right, I'm just trying to figure out like which cards are the most important to keep here, because like, while Atraxas Fall does give you some versatility, the reality is, like, this deck doesn't want cards like this, right? You need to be playing stuff either to get cards in hand, protect your things, or play things that you can play things on, right? If the card isn't doing one of those three things, it probably shouldn't make the cut, if I were guessing. Oh, it's weird. I don't have any of this as an uncommon yet. That's funny. Um, Elusive Otter, obviously, great card. Absolutely going to make the cut in this list. I would probably play a couple more combat research. I mean, I guess we can go up on Delvers. like, but now again, Delver also forces your hand on how many sweepers are we willing, or not sweepers, how many spells are we willing to play? So I'm just kind of toying with numbers here for a second to see what we can kind of make happen. I'm not a fan of the Cryptomancer. I know it has hexproof, so it's hard to kill, but the reality is, like, what's the best we can do in here? Like, I mean, I guess if we have an Otter and like 5 or 6 mana, we could make it really big and your opponent can't deal with it easily. But otherwise, I'd rather just play like a turn 1 Delver or Otter or something instead of leaving up a Cryptomancer. Because if you don't have exactly Otter, I mean, it's a 1/2. Maybe we put Audacity on it and it becomes a 3/2. I mean, like, I mean, that's fine, but it's not great. Uh, like I said, we'll cut that. Cosmic Hunger's fine. It lets you target your thing and you get to kill something, so that's okay. Truffle Snout is interesting because it gives something +2/+2. The card itself isn't spectacular, is my only downside there. But I mean, ugh. This is a tough part, right? This isn't like the first time when we were in Eldraine where the adventures were all significantly better. It felt like, I mean, I say that significantly. There's a few like, Monster Dread Knight that are just a solid all around card. But I feel like we need something else. And it's just not here. I mean, return a creature, but then you're never playing the other side because it's cost 6. Ah, man, this is tough. This is tough. This is why deck building and these like weird mechanics can be a little bit tough. But yeah, I don't know if what we're doing here, the more I'm looking at it, is any better than just playing like Rot Priest or whatever. Biggest problem I run into is they kill my creatures early and I can never get back in the game. Well, yeah, that's literally gonna, like, there is nothing you're gonna do to fix that. Right? That is literally because of the style of deck you're playing. Because you have to have so many spells that you're gonna have those draws that only have like 2 creatures. And your first 3 draws are gonna be spells sometimes or lands. And that's it. Right? You don't get to, sometimes you don't get to play a creature until turn 3. Because you need to play 2 for the creature and at least 1 protective spell to keep it alive. Right? That's just how these decks play. If you're not willing to commit to that, then it's going to be really hard to play this type of deck. I'm trying to like figure out what do we do here. Maybe Audacity doesn't even make the cut. Sadly, like it's fine, but I don't know if it's any better than like combat research. And again, we need more protective spells, so we're probably just going to go with just get these back in there. Maybe something like that. So now you've got 8 protection spells plus Fading Hope, 18 creatures, 19 non-creature spells. How many lands are in here? 22. That's probably fine since nothing costs any real amount. This is probably closer to right. Well, yeah, that you're leaning on Otter for some games to just be able to get you across the finish line. Um, let me see. Yeah, and I'm gonna come back to this. I feel like, was there a list? I feel like Jim Davis played something similar the other day, and I don't know. Let me see if I can snag it real quick. if I can find his list, because there was something else. There's a card I'm pretty sure he played that I'm not thinking of right now that was actually really good for those lists. And it's probably something obvious, but I swear I saw him messing with that just the other day. Um, mm, 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 mm. Oh no, he was in more colors. So never mind. That's what it was. Yeah. So that doesn't really work. Not for what we're trying to do. Okay, never mind. False alarm. He also had red in his deck. I was misremembering. Okay. So let's hop back into yours. And I'm trying to think of like one more creature you can play. Because again, these creatures are not going to hit for a lot. You're hitting for 3 or 4 at a time. Your goal is just having hard to kill creatures. But what if is and what is that creature? It has convoke. It's a bird. Or not convoke. Oh, what is that thing? Where you draw and discard to get a +1/+1. And it's blue. It's all right. This guy, Ledger Shredder. There you go. Connive. That's what I was thinking of. You could play this if we had a couple more things that like possibly drew cards or something, and we wanted to go back and play more considers. So then you could play 2 things on a turn and slowly grow this to a bigger creature. That's an option. But yeah, it's really just about how clean can you make the list. You know, um, there's not a lot really to be done here, unfortunately. I think this is just the type of deck we're playing, you know? You're gonna be limited on options. Maybe cut a combat research. We can get some considers back in. Creatures are at 19. March is still good for this. Royal treatments, Tameo safekeepings. Gosh, where do I make a cut at here? Maybe we cut one royal treatment and just leave the thing at well, yeah, because it also gives you indestructible along with hexproof. Maybe oh, helps if I spell stuff correctly, doesn't it? Something like that. I mean, you probably want a 4th Ivy on top of it, so that's a thing. So maybe you don't even get to do that. You got to be like that. I don't know. Something like this would be closer. But again, I don't know if this is any better than playing the the other version that already is just trying to kill you with toxic, right? Just target your stuff a bunch and kill the opponent. And there's a bunch of different versions of that out there, so you may want to look that up. But yeah, this is probably closer. The combat research, 3 considers, 4 delver, 4 otter, 3 fading hope, 3 royal treatment, 4 Tameo safekeeping, 4 ledger shredder, 4 storm chaser drake, 2 consuming hunger, 4 ivy, 1 march of the swirling mist. Didn't touch the lands at all. If nothing else, this is at least cleaner and more consistent, because one of the things you run into sometimes with these type of decks is like you have to be able to rely on certain cards, right? If you can't draw certain things, you just can't cast stuff reliably. That's going to be your biggest issue, right? You're going to be waiting for a card and it's never going to come because you only have one copy. At least here now we have multiples of everything except for March of the Swirling Mist. So it increases the odds that you at least get something out of this. And I think all your spells except for Consider can target one of your own things. So that helps with the whole Ivy Storm Tracer Drake stuff. So hopefully that helps out. It's a little bit tough, but it's just the nature of the type of deck you're playing. Like the things you're saying you're concerned with are always going to be an issue with that style of deck. There's not really a way around it. Like you're giving up power for resilience effectively, right? You're trying to play all these things, keep your creatures alive, they get to copy each other, they get to put bonuses on each other, and then you're hoping that's enough to get across the finish line. So we'll see. All right. let me go back to the Discord and see who was next in there. So, Johnny Be Good. Let me check yours out. We might have the same issue because you posted in Archidec. I will give yours an effort and see if we can actually. Oh, this is just bringing up a blank page. Nope, there it goes. Just took a little bit to load for some reason. All right, let's go to Arena. We will copy this. We will try to load it. Nope, it has the same problem. Archidec lists do not cleanly export to Arena for some reason. So yeah, if you post it somewhere else, we can take a look at it. But for whatever reason, oh yeah, you have one there. You posted it on Goldfish. I see it. All right, let's export to Arena. We'll copy this. This is a very tight, small list, which probably means it's close to done already. I'm not sure we're gonna be able to do much to this. We'll see though. All right. So this is trying to do more stuff that we already looked at with Arrietty. Yeah, this is kind of more of the same that we talked about earlier. I still don't like Conceited Witch. I like the other cards you're playing. Yeah, this is probably fine. I mean, this again has the same issues though. Like if Already or your Archon dies, you're going to be wrecked. But otherwise, there's really not much to talk about on this list. I mean, not bad in any way. I don't like the Slumber and Keep card. I mean, I get why it's here, but I'd just play a better card in the one slot. Like we we're talking about, like evolving whatever that guy is. I would just play that. Right? It's still a good place to drop your counter from your Hex Mage, but the other thing can get like Death Touch and do a bunch of other stuff and just be a better card for you. Whereas this is fine, but like, it just doesn't do much. Like Scrying's great. I don't hate that, but I feel like the value you get out of the other cards just better. But yeah, Hex Mage, Tale for Ages. Cooped Up works with Arrietty just because you can make sure your opponent can't attack or block. So that works fine. But yeah, really not much else. I think, like we're seeing already, if you're playing Arrietty, assume your deck's going to look almost the same as everybody else's, right? Plus or minus like 8 cards, but most everybody's doing a lot of the same thing. And that's not a bad thing. You know, like where you're playing Cooped Up, the other deck list was playing the Saga, right, in the spot. So makes sense. I mean, your rares are all fine in here. Nothing wrong with it. It's just solid. Obviously, you want more multicolor lands to make it easier to cast some stuff. So, like, you can fix that. But your deck's also cheap enough that it just may not even matter. A lot of your stuff only needs 1 black or 1 white, so you're likely going to be able to cast all your stuff on time or multiple spells on the turns you need to. There's not a ton of removal in here, but you are playing Cooped Up, which fits with Arrietty, so that makes sense. But yeah, that one's kind of quick. There's really not a lot to say otherwise. Like I would eventually just look for another replacement for Conceited Witch, because while it does make a roll token, I don't know if that's good enough for it to make the cut. And like I said, I'd replace Sleep Keep Guard with just a better creature. But the rest, yeah, it's all par for the course and probably should just keep playing them. All right, who else did we have in the Discord that we didn't get to yet? So we have a few more minutes. And again, if we don't get to your deck list, you can post in the Discord. The chat can always help you out if you just ask for help. If you want me to personally look at your deck list, I do have a membership level. You can just send that through there as well. By the way, if y'all want to support me here on the channel, check out my YouTube memberships. I have a few different things. You get access to extra footage because I put videos just for members. I put polls that only members get to vote on to decide stuff on the channel. Like I said, I have a level where you can just send me deck lists, like all kinds of stuff. So little bit of a bonus there. If you want to thank me, there's always super chats, super thanks as well. That's always welcome. All right, let's see. Going in order, who else was there? So we looked at Johnny's deck. We had a base track tracker. Red Dog had something over on Moxfield. So let's see what we got. Looks like, let's see. We'll export this. This looks like it's going to be more of the same. Everybody wants Arrietty to work, and Arrietty's just not working. I'm just like Arrietty has a ceiling on how good the deck can be, I think. but I will take a look because I'm pretty sure it's going to be another one. Yep, same advice. I don't like the keep guard. I would just play a better creature here. Christopher, if you have a mono black list you want me to look at, I will look at it. This is for me to look at your list and help make your list better, not for me to make a deck today. We're doing something completely different. Yeah, Conceited Witch, I don't care for. I get why it's in the list. But yeah. Oh, we looked at this one. This was the Arietti, whatever. Okay, cool. So yeah, we looked at that one. All right, going back to the Discord. Who's next in line? I'm gonna see if I can get somebody else in here. Java has one on Mox Field. So we will take a look at that one. Export here, get that. Cool. All right, back over here. Let's see what's up. All right, so we got something trying to do some silly land things. Let's see what we can do with this. See if we can fix this up. All right, so we got Fading Hopes, Make Disappears, Go for the Throats, Deeproot Wayfinder, Loam Speaker, Terra Sunder, Titania, or Ren and Realm Breaker. Like, this is just my list I posted with like Silver Scrutiny. Like this, I have a list that had no black. You can just copy that. I mean, where you have like Terra Sunder and Silver Scrutiny, I think I had the Slowkirk and something else in those spots. Yeah, there's not a ton to say about this list. I mean, like, I feel like I have a whole video and stuff we already did about this. Like, I'm not trying to be rude. I mean, like, I literally did a whole video and a 5-minute deck tech and everything about this very deck type. I mean, we just swapped a couple of cards to play some actual removal, which is fine. These are good cards. I'm a super fan of like Terra Sunder. I've said it before in many videos. Yeah. This is fine. I mean, like, I mean, if anything, the issue is it just doesn't feel like it has anything of size, which is what I would say. And it's mostly because there's no like, I don't know, no Titans or anything like that, right? You're kind of hoping to kill with some variation of lands, turtle, Tatiova, which is fine. It's doable, or you get a big Titania, obviously. Let me just find those links real quick, and I will give them to you because we just posted those not that long ago, actually. Let me bring them up. Let's see. We did a video that went out on the 3rd. So there's the full video. If you want that. Is it even going to let me post a link? Okay, I can at least post links in there, so that's good. And then the 5-minute deck tech was here as well. So if you're just looking for a couple other ideas, I think if you want to add black, what you did is fine. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It does also give you Restless Cottage, which I like. I'm playing that card in a few different deck lists. So for the changes you made, black probably works very well in here. I don't think there's a lot to change otherwise. Like I said, maybe cut down a Silver Scrutiny, maybe cut one Fading Hope, since you already have actual removal in the deck list now, to play 2 things of significant size. So you have some bonus finisher, whether it's a big flyer or, like I said, like the Titan or something like that. But yeah, other than that, that's probably it. That's probably the only thing I would swap up here. I mean, I played Slowkirk because it was an easy way to like grow a creature and do all that other stuff. But like, you don't necessarily need that if you're going to add the black to have extra removal and such. I think it's fine. Yeah, that'd be my only change. Cut a Fading Hope, cut a Silver Scrutiny, play something that you can draw into as a finisher of some kind in case you don't get to flip Titania. And that's probably mostly it. It's not a bad list, though. I had fun with that deck. You should enjoy that one. Oh, man, cutting it close here. Let's go with Ultimate Defense. Whoever you are in chat, this is what I have in the Discord. So let's take a look. Also, if we don't get to you today, like I said, I do have membership levels you can check out. If you want to send me a deck list anytime, you can do that through there. Or you can post in the Discord and just ask the Dragon Brood community to help you out. There's like 600 people in there. you can always get feedback that way as well. All right. Let's be done with this. Let's load in the next deck list. What do we get? This is an Abzan list. And this is Cut Downs, Ginger Brutes, Go for the Throat, Reckoner's Bargain. Don't see that one too often. Gallag Readers, only 2 of. Mosswood Dread Knight, only 1 of. So I'm wondering if this is a budget list of some kind. And if so, why are we not playing more tough cookies? If part of our plan is food? Yeah, I have lots of questions. There's a lot of things going on here. Like, there's a lot of things happening. Okay. This doesn't feel like, if this is budget, it doesn't feel very budget because we've got 4 Surgenders, we've got 4 Gumdrop Poisoners, we've got 4 Sugar Maws, we've got 2 Flesh Gorger, we have all the lands. Whew, decisions to be made here. Okay. Yeah. Reckoner's Bargain. We can sacrifice and gain life equal to sacrifice permanent's value when we draw 2 cards. So most of the time, we're not going to be gaining much life off of this. We're mostly just going to be doing it to draw 2 cards. But this does let us sacrifice artifacts. So I don't hate that. This is tough. I would say I would reduce the number of cut downs to 2. And then I would probably go up 1 Go for the Throats, 1 Tear Asunder. I'm trying to decide how much I like Welcome to Sweet Tooth. Because I don't think it's bad. I'm just trying to figure out how many we actually need. Because I would like to have more either Tough Cookie and or Gallag Readers. Because Gallag Readers just straight up generates treasure, which you can use with the Sir Ginger. Right? Because it's just whenever an artifact goes to a graveyard. So you can just really just be using your treasure to cast things and then put them here. Back for Seconds is fine. Does Greta doesn't draw cards though. Put a +1/+1 counter on a creature. And it does draw cards. Okay. So then, obviously we like Devouring Sugar Maw. I think my question is, how badly do we want Flesh Gorger? Because I like Flesh Gorger a lot. But if we didn't have Flesh Gorger, would making room for more Tough Cookies and Gallag Readers make more sense? Because remember that Tough Cookie can also turn food or treasures into 4/4s, and you can just fight with them. You know what I mean? So like that has some value all of its own. And Welcome to Sweet Tooth also works with more Tough Cookies because on the 3rd chapter, you get to put counters on things for the number of food you control, right? Knowing that Ginger Brute and Tough Cookie also count as food themselves. Tough Cookie technically counts as 2 food, right? Because it comes in play and produces another one. So I would think if we're trying to maximize Welcome to Sweet Tooth, we should be playing a full set of Tough Cookies. And then you get the upside of being able to sacrifice stuff for 3 life or also turning stuff into 4/4s. I like having more Gallag Readers, but if this is the way we're going, maybe we just don't have room. And I like Mosswood Dread Knight a lot, honestly. It's one of my top cards in the set. But it's weird to say that I'm willing to cut it from this list. Because I don't know if we're going to be hurting for cards, really. And the body in this list doesn't do anything. Like, it's still a 3/2. I'm not like it does nothing. But, like, you already have a ton of ways to, like, you've got Sir Ginger that's growing. You can have a Gallag Reader that's growing. You got Tough Cookie that can just turn lands into 4/4s. You have Ginger Brutes that can be unblockable, right? Like, what's a 3/2 really bringing to the table in this list? It's just not like on turn 2, you would rather have Gallag Readers, Tough Cookie, Welcome to Sweet Tooth, right? You don't really want to ever even cast a Dread Knight on 2. And you don't need to take a turn off to draw a card because you have plenty of things to be doing with your mana on turn 2. So realistically, you'd probably only ever even draw a card with this if you drew it on like turn 5 or 6, because the rest of the turns you have stuff set up you need to be doing, right? And sure, you got a card, you lost life, whatever, but we have other ways to draw cards, right? We have Reckoner's Bargain, we've got Greta. We don't really need to use that to draw cards. So, matter of fact, if we're really worried about it, we can just play an extra Greta even and do that. Um, so yeah, I would probably that's weird. This is the first list I think I've actually cut Mosswood Dread Knight from. I am way bigger on that card than I probably should be. Gumdrop Poisoner is interesting, but you do get to gain life. I don't mind that. It's another removal card, which is another reason I don't think it hurts too bad to go down on your cut downs a little bit. Ginger, you're only playing 3. That's fine. Man, I like Back for Seconds. The problem is for me right now, I really want to get more Tough Cookies and Gala Greeters into the list just for consistency's sake. I just feel like they both do more for this list than some of the other fillers. That's going to be my last bit. I'm going to say if you want to keep the Gorgers, keep the Gorger. It's not a bad card. For me, I would probably cut Gorger and add another Gala Greeter and a Tough Cookie. I think is what I would do. Because then you have plenty of ways to gain life. You have plenty of ways to make artifacts or food that benefit Sir Ginger and Welcome to Sweet Tooth. You still have all the life gain that you can use with this because now you'll have even more food. Obviously, Greta still loves all the stuff you're doing, so that's great. And then obviously Sugar Maw is just big, and you'll have more things to sacrifice to Sugar Maw as well. So yeah, I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna cut those, and I'm gonna say let's play 3 Gala Greeters and 4 Tough Cookies. And I think this is where I would be: 2 Cut Down, 4 Ginger Brute, 3 Go for the Throat, 4 Reckoner's Bargain, 3 Gala Greeters, 2 Terra Sunder, 4 Tough Cookie, 4 Welcome to Sweet Tooth, 3 Sir Ginger, 4 Gumdrop Poisoner, 2 Greta, 4 Devouring Sugar Maw. This actually looks pretty close to something I would probably build, to be honest. Yeah, also, you even have this to make a 1/1 early in a food. So, like, yeah, you were almost never going to cast the Mosswood Dread Knight, thinking about it. Like, that would almost never do anything in this list. So, yeah, this probably works out a lot better. Lands, I think this could be cleaned up a bit. You've got a bunch of green and black, virtually no white. I think the white is just hanging out on Sugar Maw. So max out your black and green lands and then just fill it in with non-tapping early white mana. So maybe the green white fast land and like more Caves of Koilos, right? So you still have access to more black and more green, but you have like 8 things or whatever that could produce white. Additionally, you would get the benefit of treasures from Gala Greeters having more of those that could also produce white mana if you need to later. It'd be harder to do this on turn 1, but if you have like 8 things that produce white, possibly opening it at least increases the odds that you can make that happen. So I'd probably just like 4 Cottage, 4 Llanowar Waste, 4 Deathcap Glade, so that's already 12. I'd probably go some number of the fast lands for green white, so you play another 4 of those probably, so that's 16. 4 caves, so that's 20, and then probably 1 each of Swamp Forest, Iganjo, and Takanuma. Something like that. That's probably what that would look like. Because you don't really need a ton of basics. It doesn't really matter here. Like, even if somebody destroyed one of your lands and both of your basics were already in play, most of your stuff's actually fairly cheap. Like, realistically, outside of Sugar Maw, you don't really have anything that costs more than 3. So you'd be able to function without that anyway. And again, Gala Greeters should make land. You have Reckoner's Bargain that could find more cards if you needed to. Get you life in a pinch as well. So yeah, this all seems fine. Like I said, this seems like something I would probably play on some level. This looks at least interesting and uses a fair amount of new cards. All right. Let me hop back to the other screen. Because it is now after 2:00 and I need to start prepping for my podcast that I record every week. Let me go back to the main screen. Let me get caught up here on some of the chats as well. Let's see. Chalice says, I'm trying to play the most I can from WoW, but Galley Greeters are just too good to cut. Yeah, I agree. I think don't get caught up too much on like you have to play new cards, right? If old cards just do a job better than new cards, play the old card. I know some of it is like maybe you're tired of playing with the card for a long time or you're trying to just be different and new, but like sometimes just being new for the sake of being new isn't the best thing, right? You got to play the cards that fit. And when you're talking about something like Gala Greeters, it fits your deck a lot of different ways, right? It's making treasure, which can produce extra color because you have 2 or 3 colors you're trying to cast there. 3 colors technically, right? You've got the fact that you make treasure that you can sacrifice that helps your Sir Ginger out. That's actually important. And it could possibly grow as well, which actually helps with like your bargain, so you can actually sacrifice that later, maybe gain 3-4 life off of it, get your cards. So it's not a bad card to fill in for a lot of different reasons. Or the life gain actually even matters, right? Against mono red or whatever becomes a card they want to get rid of. Though that being said, you're producing a lot of food, so it doesn't really matter all that much in that list. Everyone was able to submit deck lists. However, that's probably going to be it for the submissions at this time. However, I do have a couple of ways you can always send deck lists. Now, we don't always do this on stream. This is kind of like a special stream I decided to do just on a whim. But if you want to submit deck lists in the future, you can always just go to my Discord and the community will help you. Like we have almost 600 people in the Discord. If you go like, hey, I'm working this type of deck, does anybody have suggestions? People in there will help you. If you want to send something to me directly and have me look at it, I do have a membership level. You can use that, and there's a Google form that sends it right to me. And then as soon as I get a chance, I will give you feedback on it, whatever, personally. So there's a couple of different ways you can do that. Let's see what else we got. Golgari Rocks, there's a lot of people that feel that way, that's for sure. I've got an attempt at Turbo Fog. I'm looking to refine for next season if you want to take a look. I don't. Why would you want, like, no, I'm just kidding. But yeah, Turbo Fog's just not even fun. Why would, I mean, people enjoy that type of magic. I mean, I'm not going to tell you not to do it, but that is not our brand. You know, I will look at it though in the future. Or again, if you want to send it to me through the memberships, do that. Or if you want to drop it in the Discord and see if anybody wants to help out. And I won't say I will never give input on the Discord. It's like if I'm available and I see it, I will sometimes chime in or whatever. But you can guarantee I personally look at it, sending it through the membership stuff. So just saying, that's another way to do it. And when I stream on Twitch, they do channel points that are free. You just get those accumulated from watching. I have a channel point level. You can send stuff to me that way as well. I almost never look at anything that comes through my DMs. I ignored every deck list that gets posted on a YouTube comment. The reasons I do that are twofold. One is that if I do that on YouTube, then everybody just posts deck lists. And everybody's like, look at my deck, blah, blah. And then the comments aren't really relevant or help anybody out that has questions or whatever on the video. And that's not what I want my stuff to turn into. So oftentimes I either ignore those or just delete them. If you send them to me in DMs, I also ignore those because I've experimented a few times and pretty much every time I do it, then everybody just wants to keep sending you stuff in your DMs. And I'd rather leave my DMs for business on the different platforms. So I have the Discord available. You can do it there. I have memberships where you can do it that way, and you get my personal time. So just being clear, it's not like I'm trying to ignore people from posting stuff, but some of it is business required, you know, for better or worse. Read this comment as a membership perk. I just read it. But yeah, thanks, Prom. You've been a supporter and you watch all my videos and comment a lot. I appreciate it. So yeah, the one thing I will say about Eldraine so far that we know is that there's still a lot to discover about this set. I think what kind of isn't being spoken, I guess the problem is that when we last did Eldraine, the cards that were good were obviously good they were too good, right? And a bunch of them got banned in different formats. And I think people looked at this and went, oh, well, this is so underpowered or whatever. Like, I guess if we're talking about underpowered in the sense of like stuff's probably not going to get banned, then like, yeah, sure. But the reality is there's a lot of good stuff here. I think the issue right now, though, is you do have a lot of people, like we saw today, a bunch of folks who are trying to get caught up on like, I want to play Arietti and build that deck or whatever, right? Like those are going to feel underpowered and they're going to be a bit weaker because that's almost more of a build around commander than a 60 card, if that makes sense. So it's going to feel underpowered. But there's a lot of really good cards in this set. Like we said, like Mosswood Dread Knight, a fantastic card, right? The virtues are probably going to show up in a bunch of deck lists because those are good. So there's a lot of really good stuff, but they're not overbearing build around your opponent's going to struggle to deal with this cards. They're just good quality, going to go into a lot of different deck lists, probably till the end of time type cards. And that's a good thing. Eric says Oko was viewed as mid by some people. Just watch it. Well, that's the thing about a lot of cards, right? And that's why early on I try to qualify a lot of cards when I'm doing reviews of, well, this could be good if, or this likely is going to struggle in these scenarios, right? Because a card being good or bad sometimes comes down to what does the rest of the environment look like? And then in the case of Oko, like we hadn't really played with it before. So looking at it, you're like, this seems all right, I guess. And you're like, oh, wait, I can just turn off pretty much every creature and make it a 3/3. That seems pretty fantastic. I'll never have to worry about a thing again, right? So it's tough. It's tough. I think there's a lot of times people want to, and I get it. People want, I don't know, hot takes or whatever on cards, or people are like, hey, tell me what to build or tell me what I need to buy or whatever. But I try to stay away from that. I try to help within the context of what you're trying to do. I try to give an overall reference to things more than just this is good or bad, right? Because hell, we've even had cards that were around in standard, didn't hard to get played. And then years later, somebody finds something to do with it in like legacy or modern or whatever, right? So it's a tough one. But you're not wrong. I think a lot of people underestimated Oko when it first came out. You know, there was other stuff too, like Once Upon a Time or the Red Enchantment that lets you play stuff that costs 4 or less for free or whatever. Like those were just ridiculously good and didn't take a lot to figure that out. Like those, you just read the words and went like, yep, people are going to play this card. This is great. So yeah, that stuff's a little out of whack when you're trying to compare the new set to it. But I think there's a lot of playable cards. I really do. I have a ton of lists using a bunch of different cards that you'll see over the next couple weeks that, yeah, the set's fine. I mean, to be honest, I probably like the set more from a deck builder perspective. I probably like the set more than some recent past sets. So, it's probably going to be a matter of perspective. But, everybody's going to feel the way they do, right? Maybe the cards don't fit a certain type of deck type that somebody wants to play or doesn't fit their play style. And that's a viable argument, right? There's a bunch of people right now who are losing their mind over the anime trailer for Eldraine. And I looked at it and went, that was all right, I guess. I'm like, how do you not think that was the greatest thing ever? Like, for me, all the anime stuff around Eldraine doesn't make any sense, right? Even having the different art on the inserted cards and all this stuff, like, I don't know why there's anime art, and some of the anime art doesn't even really fit the card. Like, Smothering Tithe is just some cute anime chicks hanging out in like a kitchen or something. I don't know what's going on. Right? Like, it's a weird piece of art. I don't know. So like it just doesn't click for me. Whereas when I saw the anime trailer for Kamigawa, it was much more fitting and made more sense. I went, oh, that was really cool. Right. So everybody's going to have a different opinion on different things. And I don't think any of us are particularly right or wrong. We're just voicing our opinion within the context of what we prefer. 420 Troll says support PD. I agree. If y'all haven't yet, the easiest thing y'all can do is click the like button right now. Like if you've been watching the stream for more than 4 or 5 minutes, just click the like button. That's it. That's all we need. Try to get it up there to like 35, 40 likes. That's all I need from you. But yeah, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, all that. Like if you want to send a super thanks, super chat, join the memberships to get a bunch of cool free stuff, feel free to do that as well. Let's see. I miss having powerful cards like Oko. Honestly, no ban historic. I had the most fun. The thing is, I get people having that perspective, but I can tell you from years of even running a store and retail, whatever, most people don't want that. Because when those cards exist, literally more than half the cards don't even become viable to try to mess with. Right. So if you have those powerful over the top bannable cards, actually, I'd say more than that. I would say probably 70% of the sets of the cards that are available just become non issues. Like they will never do anything. Whereas if those cards are banned, now you at least unlock at least another half of those other cards that people could build with theme decks they could play or whatever. And that's kind of the issue, right? While that can be fun in short bursts, you're going to end up in a world where most people are going to be playing a lot of the same cards because those are just the overpowered, silly things. So, like, if you think Shieldred's bad, well, if you play an environment where there's no ban cards or whatever, like for the people who were complaining about them getting rid of Meat Hook Massacre, 100% guaranteed Meat Hook Massacre would have been the most played card in Standard. Like, especially with what came out over the last couple of years, like token decks become non-viable, period. Right? That just wouldn't even be a thing. So that shuts off an entire deck type. Hell, he probably even shuts down most of the mono white aggro or whatever, like just takes a bunch of stuff out of the equation. So cards that are out of whack really are a problem. Like now, can you have fun with them? Sure. But I don't think you want your environment to be like that all the time. Because anime sells packs, you're not wrong. You're definitely not wrong. I think there's a large crossover. For those of you that are wrestling fans, one of the things people are complaining about, if you know, is like CM Punk is no longer working for AEW, right? One of the things that came up was they were talking about the ratings on Saturday with them announcing CM Punk's no longer on the show. And I had to explain to people, I said, no, that's like, they were on a night where there was a WWE pay-per-view, there was a UFC pay-per-view, and there was college football. Their ratings were going to suck no matter what. That's the equivalent of, and I think I posted this, like it's equivalent of a streamer getting online and then within the next 2 hours complaining that their numbers drop because the 3 biggest streamers in their niche get on. It's like the same thing, right? You have to know where your crossover is. And in this case, there's a lot of anime crossover with Magic fans. So you shove anime art on something and automatically people like it more. Like that's just all there is to it. I'm not the target demographic, but I totally get that they're going to sell more and people are going to want to collect certain versions. They're going to pay more on the secondary market because they want the anime version of whatever their cards are that are in their favorite deck or commander deck or whatever. So good on them for doing it. It's going to be good for business. It's just doesn't have that big of an impact for me. What else we got here? All aggro decks die to Massacre. I would say most. I think the things that could come over the top with like haste or dragons or whatever type stuff like can survive it. But yeah, the card's pretty dumb. It eats up a lot of aggro decks for sure. Curious what your favorite card from this set overall. I'm People always ask me that stuff. I don't have many favorites on a lot of things, but just to answer the question, so there's a hot take type thing, I'm gonna say Mosswood Dread Knight. $50 anime smells right. Yeah, that's exactly my point. Like people love that stuff, man. They're gonna pay a lot for it. Says you used to be the target demographic, then you got old. I don't know. Like I've never like I okay, funny story, personal story time, right? I had friends who were way into Dragon Ball Z for like the first, I don't know, 3-4 years the show was out. And they're like, oh, you gotta watch this or whatever. So I'm like, all right, cool. So one day I go sit down with them to watch it. And I don't know, it was Goku and somebody else. I don't remember who the other guy was, but they were just literally charging up and like monologuing. He'd say something for like 2 minutes, and you see the other guy charging up. He'd say something for a minute or two, then be back to Goku or whatever. And then there was a commercial. I'm like, all right, that was cool. We're setting up some stuff, something big's about to happen. Come back from commercial, repeat, more charging up, more monologue. And I'm just like, all right, I guess I see where this goes. So we're gonna have this big crescendo when we get back from the next like commercial break. Get back from commercial, charge up even stronger, more trash talk. That was the end of the episode. And I was like, really though? And they were just like, man, that was awesome. Like they were talking about this and I'm like, I guess, but like nothing really happened. apparently that was a regular occurrence in that show. And I'm like, yep, they're just an audience for some of this and not for me. Like, I don't understand. Like some of the animes I enjoyed though, like Rurouni Kenshin way long time ago, like that was like early 2000s. Uh I watched a little bit of like Cowboy Bebop, but honestly, I didn't care for the story all that much as I enjoyed the music in that one. There was a few others, not a lot. Like I'm very fair weather when it comes to my anime stuff. I'm not a fan of it just because of the genre. I just have to like see something or something catches my eye or some particular story or whatever that just gets me interested. So like I tell people, I don't hate anime. I think it's totally fine. I think it's cool that people enjoy it. I think it's neat that people cosplay all the stuff. I just don't get overexcited about it because a lot of it, when I watch it, feels kind of samey and doesn't really trigger anything for me. But I'm not going to down talk anybody else for enjoying it. Let's get caught up on chats here. Same. Only time I tried Dragon Ball, they just charged the whole time. See, other people had that same experience. That's funny. My problem with Dragon Ball is I felt there were no stakes. Oh, that's a good way to view it. Honestly, I guess there really wasn't. That is a thing, right? You have to have like, what are they doing? What's the goal? Why are they doing what they're doing? Like, is there ever a real threat to the hero? Like, yeah, I guess I don't never really got that vibe from Dragon Ball Z. To be fair, Watsy has been really working hard and getting new people in the game. Oh, they've definitely done that. There's been a lot of new faces in the game for sure. Nice Dragon Ball talk. I miss old Broly versus new Broly who be simping. That's funny. Uh, I wish they added more powerful cards in the set. The only cards I bought from this set are reprints. There honestly, I'm telling you, Jeff, there are a lot of cards that not only are powerful, I honestly believe will be sought after for a long time. Hell, just the virtues alone, I believe are going to find their ways into several commander decks, especially the black and the white one. I think particularly the blue one is going to find some combo situations that it's going to find a home. The red one even can find some work. The green one I don't think is that great, but it'll find its way into commander decks with people trying to do big dumb mana stuff. But that's probably my least interesting of them. But yeah, I think there's a lot of cards in the set right now that don't. Again, this is what we were just talking about. Because stuff isn't obviously powerful, don't dismiss everything else yet. I think a lot of these cards, people have not seen all of the good applications for them yet. We also have not seen the things to come in the next 2 or 3 sets that some of these cards will work better with. That's the other thing. I tried to watch anime, but all the pointless panty and bouncing breasts. But yeah. I don't like the sexist stuff either. That kind of wears me out. Even when I see it on like people's playmats and stuff, I'm just like, what are we doing? You know? Yeah, Breach Beseech the Mirror is fantastic. Uh, do, 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 do. All right, let's see what else we got. Oh, we said old anime was full of filler because animators just had to stretch 20 manga pages to fill 20 minutes. That's also fair. A lot of those older animes were derived from books before they were actually animes, and that actually changes that as well. So that's a very good point. Which, from what I'm told, I haven't watched it yet, and I've literally read zero One Piece because everybody knows that there's like 1,000 issues or something. But the live action One Piece, people seem to enjoy. I have talked to several people who are hardcore One Piece fans, hardcore anime fans, some people that are very casual anime fans. I haven't heard anybody complain about it yet. So cool. Right. Hey, they got it right. Mm-mm-mm. But all right, y'all. I think that's gonna do it for me. I'm gonna check out of here so that I can start prepping for my 2 podcasts and 2 fantasy football drafts I'm gonna do over the next like 5 hours. So I'm gonna be very busy. And I need to work on a video for y'all because I have some stuff I'm working on myself. But again, if we didn't get to your deck list, like I said, you can go post in the Discord chat. Just put it in the standard channel and just tell the Dragon Brood, like, hey, I'm working on this deck. Can somebody help me out? and you'll get some help that way. If you want me to personally look at a thing, you can join my memberships. I do have a level where you can just send stuff to me directly. You can also show up on Twitch streams, use channel points that way if you want to do it. Otherwise, if you haven't hit the like button, why not? You should at least do that. That one's free and it takes like a second. You just click over, hit the like button. Helps us out. And if you haven't subscribed, that would also help too. I have 2 podcasts that I'm on. I'm on one called Color of Magic, and we talk about all types of issues that affect. Their tagline is, we talk about all types of issues that affect gamers at and away from their gaming tables and computers. So we cover a lot of Magic, but we also cover stuff when things like, the stuff was going on with Riot and the court cases and stuff. We covered that. Big issues that go down at like a Magic Con or something that people maybe didn't hear about when I was on the floor dealing with stuff. So we cover a lot of that stuff. And then I've recently become part of the Magic Mike's podcast. That's been going on a while as well. And that's pretty much Magic focused all the time, but we do a few other things there as well. So you can look either of those 2 up. Wherever you download your stuff, they should come up. We're both, or I think on damn near every service. But for sure, if you use Apple iTunes or Apple Podcasts or Android Podcasts, wherever they call the podcast app now, you should be able to download it there or through YouTube Music or whatever. But yeah, everywhere podcasts are, we should be available. And we have 200. We're at the episode 204 on Color of Magic, and I do not remember what they're up to on Magic Mike's. It's a lot, though. It's like at least double that. So, yeah, lots of content to be consumed if you ever want it. But yeah, as always, y'all just keep being awesome. Wherever you're watching, whenever you're watching, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, because I know some of y'all are from Germany, Austria, Brazil, Chile, Australia. We have viewers from all over, and I appreciate that. Remember, take care of yourselves and your family. Be awesome. And even more importantly, be awesome to each other. I will catch you all on the next one. And the plan, like I said, is going to be to stream at least once a week on Twitch, twice a week on YouTube. So hopefully we'll catch y'all on more of these.